Hi, I'm making a video today. I kind of wanted to just try a talking about a topic sort of YouTube video and see how that feels, see how it turns out. I'm an avid talker in my everyday life, probably thanks to the ADHD, but there are some topics where, like, if someone brings it up in conversation, I will, more often than not, go on a rant about said topic, and not like an aggressive rant, but just like I got a lot to say type rant. So I'm gonna do one of those today. Um, Currently thinking of a topic. I'm gonna like press record again whenever I've thought of one. Okay, so I thought of my topic. I'm gonna talk about beauty, and more specifically, the morality, or maybe you could say benefit provided by doing things to enhance your beauty as a person. So, you know, why I care about this so much. I am a trans woman. I was not born a woman, and I did not live most of my life as a woman. So, in order to like feel good about myself, I usually need to feel pretty, because otherwise I feel like I look like a man, if that makes sense. So beauty is a very, it's kind of like a ideal, like dream goal, because if I am beautiful, I am not man-like, mannish, masculine, because like men aren't beautiful. Like if a man looks, good, he's, like handsome, cool. Like, I don't know, I would call a man beautiful personally, clear skin, nice hair, stuff like that. But it's just not typically associated with like men. And the kind of beauty that I'm speaking of is like feminine, kind of clean. I don't know. Maybe this is a more interesting conversation, but I guess the beauty standard is what I'm describing, and the set of traits commonly associated with femininity. So, why I care about beauty? I am a trans woman, and I pursue beauty to not feel like a man and to feel like a woman and to feel correct about my identity and stuff. So, recently I've noticed I've developed a bit of a dependence on makeup. If we think of makeup as kind of like a therapeutic solution to the self-image problem, I don't think it's addictive, but I do have a dependence on it. So I kind of thought about that recently, thinking like, what does it mean to be vain? What does it mean to be self-obsessed? If I care about makeup, like, 100%, like if I like super duper care about makeup, does that make me a horrible person? Or is it morally justifiable because like I need makeup to feel like a person, period? That's kind of the center. I had that crisis a few nights ago, and that's the thesis, in my opinion. And yeah, I mean, it's hard to talk about. I think, the history of the idea of like the vain woman, of like the self-obsessed woman, is kind of selfish. I mean, being vain, being self-obsessed, being like inwardly focused in general is, a bad thing. It's not good to just think about yourself and not think about others. There are other people in this world. Cooperation and working with others is important. But at the same time, caring about how you look and wanting to look pretty is not an issue if it helps you feel better. But then that makes me think too, like, why do you care about being pretty, right? For me, I would say, I'll just speak from my experience. I don't know how, like, great this is to say, but I feel pretty innately drawn to makeup, to, like, looking pretty, to looking feminine, I would say. And I don't know, the word beauty standard like keeps popping into my head, and I'm like, is it a beauty standard? Is that what I'm like getting at? I don't know. I'm not sure. I think if women were like allowed to look however and be however, I would definitely feel less of a need to conform. I feel like a lot of my reason why I care so much about makeup is because if I don't do it well, whenever I go out into the world, I feel the pressure on me of society, kind of just like the bad vibes from people, or maybe it's just anxiety about seeing like a very manly looking woman, you know, out in the wild. So I guess it is a beauty standard. It's also part of gender or perception of girls and women that, you know, they should always look very like conventionally attractive, conventionally beautiful, and weird thing to impose on women as a class of people. Almost definitely comes from powerful men, like kind of asserting that women should be beautiful, or, you know, the men who had beauty companies, fashion companies, media companies, stuff like that, setting the standard for what women should look like, and doing so maybe out of their own, you know, selfish interest of like, I want women to look like the kind of woman I like. Or it could be, you know, women innately or like by default want to look pretty and want to look feminine and want to look, you know, more idealized, I guess. Ideal is a strange word because it kind of conjures the image of a ideal female beauty, ideal female like womanhood, what that looks like. And that's almost definitely something that's been created. I don't think that, you know, there's no platonic ideal of feminine beauty that exists as an isolated concept somewhere in the universe. I don't think that exists. And so that idea of beauty, that ideal, maybe one could say a standard even, is almost 100% created. And so I guess to circle back around to what I was, let's circle back to what I was talking about earlier about my relationship with beauty and my feelings towards beauty and what I should look like. Yeah, I mean, I almost definitely want to be pretty because of a beauty standard, because of the beauty standard that's set for women by men in power. And it's enforced by everyone. It's enforced by not only men, but women too, who, I don't know, it's not out of character for women to judge other women for looking not conventionally attractive. I mean, it's, you know, I don't want to call it oppression, but it is almost a form of oppression to set this standard that must be met by women, lest they be, you know, targets of disrespect and unfair treatment. I think under the model of patriarchy, which we live in, men are the ruling class, so they set the standard for women, they set the terms, and if women can't stick to those terms, the contract, if you will, of existing as a woman in society, they don't get the privileges of being a woman either, which are not special privileges, they're human rights, I would say. The right to be respected, the right to be treated as an equal. So yeah, my relationship with beauty, I think going from being a man to being a woman, obviously the patriarchy, or to use a less buzzy word, I would say men in power. I literally forgot my sentence. That's so sad. I thought I was gonna get through this without forgetting my sentence. Yeah, men in power impose beauty standard. Right. So me transitioning to be a woman they will see a trans woman who looks masculine as like an affront to this kind of um, system that's set in place. So obviously that's discouraged. Obviously there's kind of a lot of social infrastructure in place to prevent this kind of thing from happening or to discourage it from happening. And so whenever I leave the house, I feel this like deep, like pressure from society to look like a cis woman, like to look like a beautiful, like perfect cis woman. And should I care personally? I don't think so. I think my worth as a human being on this earth is so much more than what I look like. But by the same token, it's easy to say don't care about your appearance, but in a society where women are oppressed, or where women are subject to the kind of terms set by powerful men, that's not as easy as just, I don't care, and going on with your day. I think you have to care if you want to, be treated as an equal, be treated respectfully, and not just by men, by other women too, who have been kind of indoctrinated into the society where that is the standard. We don't question why. We accept it at face value and enforce it whenever someone, breaches the contract, the agreement. So, should I care about beauty? Should I care about femininity? Should I care about being pretty? I think, personally, I will continue to care. I like looking pretty, no amount of introspection and interrogation as to why beauty is so important to women in society. I don't think it's going to change that. But I think being pretty in a way that is not oppressive, that's not kind of slapping how do I say this? That's not kind of packaging your identity into this consumable, ogle-at-able, shiny package, and instead searching for avenues of self-expression that act as a megaphone through which you can, let your personality out into the world. I think that is the goal that should be gone for. And it is hard, it is difficult to prioritize that, but I think that is ultimately the thing that's important, and complications caused by men in power is what stands between us now and that ideal future. So a good compromise for me is one, wearing makeup as a tool to not look like a man, and so I fit more easily into a society that's not kind towards manly looking women. And second, a very powerful tool of self-expression and a tool that lifts me out of this vessel that I have not by my choice, and puts me into a new one that I'm more comfortable living in. So that's what makeup is for me. That's why it's important for me. And I think in an ideal world, everyone would alter their appearance. I guess this doesn't just apply to makeup, but these same points can be applied to weight, to body shape, towards certain features, towards, every single trait that falls under the microscope of, I don't know what I'm trying to say, that basically is subject to scrutiny by society. There's basically everything. In an ideal world, you would marry your ideal self-expression and your identity with the restrictions put on you. And ideally, those restrictions wouldn't be compromising your self-expression, but I think every person who lives in society, I can't speak for other cultures, but American culture, to talk about that specifically, people need to find a middle ground that is comfortable and happy for them between being what the patriarchy wants you to be as a beautiful, feminine, perfect, packaged doll of a woman, and what is true to your own identity and your self-expression. So I'm currently trying to figure that out. I've kind of been repressing my identity for the past 19 years. So I'm in the process of figuring out what a self-actualized, what a true version, what the truest form of my self-expression, what shape that takes. And also at the same time grappling with the messages I'm being told by society or the behaviors that are being enforced that are just being enforced, I guess, that I'm being kind of coerced into acting in accordance with. And yeah, figuring it out, trying. that's kind of the thing. Yeah, it's tough. I think everyone's job, I might have already said this, but is to find where they are most comfortable on that continuum of doing exactly what society tells you to do and doing only what makes you happy. I don't know why I'm gesturing with this hand. Doing only what makes you happy and is like a true form of your self-expression. So I'm rambling. I'm gonna put timestamps because I think this was like fairly insightful. And I'll see you in the next one. This was fun. I might do this again. But yeah, I'll see you later. Bye.